Leslie Fiorenzo, and today I want to share with you using active listening during the difficult conversation. If you like what you see on this video, please share it with a friend and subscribe to my channel. You may know that active listening is part of my because framework for difficult conversations, and it's been my experience that active listening is a challenge. Why? Well, often we're listening for a break in the action, right? I want to give you some tips on how you can be better at active listening. Because we need to be listening for the underlying current, if you will, of what the other person is saying. Not just the words. We want to listen to understand. We want to listen for their feelings, their emotions, what's motivated them to act. So really listening with the intention to understand requires us to come from a standpoint of curiosity. I wonder what's happening. Let's use this analogy. Think about your favorite movie. And I'm guessing if it's your favorite movie, you've watched it maybe more than once. Why? Well, even though you know what's going to happen, you're anticipating and you're curious about what's going to happen at the end. So if we can come at that difficult conversation with that same level of curiosity as when we're watching our favorite movie, we and the other person, you and me, the other person, we're all going to be better served. Now, let's make up a situation you might encounter at work. And we're going to pretend you have an employee who has made several errors over the last week, and we're going to pretend that today they labeled 15 packages incorrectly. Now, the mistake, luckily, was caught before it got to the customer. It was caught when the truck was being loaded. So if you're following the because framework, you're going to start the conversation by saying, I want to talk to you because you're a valued team member. I'm concerned because shipping was loading the truck and they found 15 packages with your inventory mark that were labeled incorrectly. And this caused a delay in the loading and delivery of the product to our customer. Now, we need to take steps to prevent this from happening in the future. What do you think could have caused the problem? Remember, you're not starting with a question, you're starting with a statement about why the conversation is important, why they're important, and the impact their behavior is having. So you're starting with a description of the behavior. Using their name is really important, the change that you need to see, but then ask them for their input, what they think could have caused. And I would encourage you to ask what questions as opposed to why. Avoid starting with a question. Oftentimes we start these conversations with a question. Better to start with a statement that describes the behavior. What questions can be more powerful? Why questions can be just a little bit accusatory. So start with what. What do you think the issue is? What could have caused this error? What was happening at the time? What maybe got in your way of doing this job accurately? Asking questions that start with the word what sets up this cause and effect framework. What were the circumstances that could have led up to the error? Why questions? Well, they can set up a looking for an excuse. Another phrase that can be really helpful in this active listening conversation, and actively listening, I should say, to a conversation is, "That's really interesting. Can you tell me more?" And look expectantly. Be silent. Wait for them to share more information. And sometimes we do have to count to ourselves, maybe 10, maybe 20, depending on the individual. But we're expectantly waiting for more. We're interested, we're curious, we want to know. It can be really easy to pass judgment. So avoid that and be in a place where the conversation can take place with minimal distractions. And if you have to have this conversation virtually, make sure that both of you are on camera and you're using technology to its full advantage. So pretending you are in the room together as opposed to cameras off and avoiding the eye to eye. Active listening takes practice. Start with times when you're talking to family and friends, when the conversation isn't as weighty, if you will. Practice being curious, listening to the meaning behind the words that people are saying. Take time to practice. Think it through and use this to your advantage, because you'll find most people are listening, again, for that break in the action so they can share their opinion, where you want to take a step back and come at it from a place of curiosity. I'd love to hear your results of using active listening. So if this has helped you in a difficult conversation, post your comment below. Maybe it didn't help. Maybe you have a difference of opinion, and that's okay too. I really would like to hear from you. And again, if you are so inclined, please subscribe to my channel and share this information with a friend. Thanks for listening today, and best wishes for success in active listening in all conversations, just not difficult ones.